Dear students, today in this class, let us learn the fifth lesson in English prose known as the Swan and the Princess. It is a folk play. In this story, we are going to learn about how the swan was saved by one of the princes by name Siddhartha. So it is very good lesson, and moreover it is a play. There are some characteristics in this play. So those characteristics are, for example, Siddhartha, one character, and Shuddhodana, another character, Devadatta, another character, and chief ministers are there. Let us see how this story goes on. Before going to know about the lesson, a small introduction is given. I would read this introduction for you people. Who owns a bird or an animal? The one who catches it or the one who looks after it? To understand this, read the following play which deals with an incident in the life of Siddhartha. So now the characters are Shuddhodana, the king of Kapilavastu, Siddhartha, the prince of Kapilavastu, Devadatta, Siddhartha's cousin, and the chief minister and four other ministers of the king. Now the play starts. The guard. King Shuddhodana is sitting on his throne. His ministers are sitting around him. The chief minister is saying something to him. Just the guard enters and goes to the king. Now you should imagine that this is a court. In this court, the king Shuddhodana is sitting on his throne, and around him his ministers are sitting, and the chief minister is saying something to the king. At that time, one of the guards enters the court and bows to the king. Now the guard is speaking to the king. Long live the king. Sir, Prince Devadatta wants to come in. King, bring him in. So now the guard enters the court and asks the king, or tells the king that Prince Devadatta wants to meet him. Thereby the king asked the guard to call Devadatta to him. The guard goes and goes out. The guard who had come to tell about that Devadatta wants to see him. So the guard bows to the king and goes out to bring Devadatta. Chief minister is speaking now. I wonder why Prince Devadatta wants to see the king at this time. So the chief minister of the court was surprised to listen that why Devadatta wants to meet the king at that time. Now the second minister, perhaps he wants to complain against someone. The second minister says that maybe Devadatta wants to give a complaint about someone. Therefore, Devadatta wants to meet the king. The guard enters with Devadatta. Both of them go to the king. Now the guard who had went out to bring Devadatta, he comes now, and both Devadatta and the guard goes to the king. So the guard brought Devadatta. Now king is speaking to Devadatta. King asked, King, what is it, Devadatta? Why have you come to me at this time? Now the king is asking Devadatta why he had come to him at that time. Devadatta is speaking to the king. Devadatta says like this. Devadatta now speaking to the king. Sir, the prince will not give me my swan. I want justice from you. Devadatta is saying that the prince is not giving my swan. I want justice from you. King, smiling, be calm, Devadatta. Has Siddhartha taken your swan from you? Now the king is asking Devadatta whether Siddhartha has taken his swan. Devadatta says, yes, sir, he has. I shot it and it fell on the ground near the prince. He picked it up and said he won't give it to me. So Devadatta says to the king that he had, yes, the prince had taken his swan. Before that, what happened? Devadatta had shot the swan and it had fallen before the prince, and he took that swan and he says that he don't give that swan to him. So this was the complaint of Devadatta against the prince, king. That is very naughty of Siddhartha to the god. Go and call him. The god goes and goes out. So now the king was surprised to listen the words of Devadatta, and the king felt that Siddhartha was very naughty. Why did he do that? So therefore the king asked the god to call Siddhartha. And now the guard went out to bring Siddhartha. Third minister, softly to the fourth minister, the prince is a good lad. He can't do a thing that is wrong. Now third minister is speaking to fourth minister and he says that the prince is very good lad, he is a very good boy. He never does any mistake or he never does anything wrong. Fourth minister, I agree with you. Yes, I know. Siddhartha is quite good boy, good lad. The god enters with Prince Siddhartha, who has a white swan in his arms. Siddhartha goes to the king. So now the god comes with Siddhartha, and Siddhartha was holding a swan in his arms. King, Siddhartha, Devadatta says that you have taken a swan. Is that the swan which you took from him? Siddhartha, Your Highness, Devadatta has complained about this swan, but it is not his swan, it's mine. Siddhartha is speaking to the king and addressing the king as Your Highness. Siddhartha is asking the king, Devadatta has given a complaint about me regarding the swan, but the swan which is with me, that swan doesn't belong to Devadatta. Now Devadatta speaking, no, Your Highness, it is not his, it's mine. I shot it with an arrow. Siddhartha is telling a lie. Now, Devadatta is speaking, "No, Your Highness." Devadatta is speaking to the king and says that, "No, Your Highness." Siddhartha is telling lie, that swan is mine because I shot it. Devadatta. King is speaking to Devadatta. "Be calm, Devadatta. You say that the swan is yours because you shot it. Is that right?" "Okay, Devadatta, you say that the swan belongs to you because you shot it. Okay?" Devadatta. "Yes, sir. That's quite right." "Yes, king. Yes, sir. What I said is quite right." King. "What do you say, Siddhartha? Why do you say that the swan is yours?" Now king is asking Siddhartha, "Siddhartha, why do you say that the swan is yours? And how do you say that the swan is yours?" Siddhartha. "Your Majesty, Devadatta shot this swan, but I saved its life. That's why it's mine." Now Siddhartha replied to the king that Devadatta has shot that swan, but I saved the life of the swan. So therefore, that swan is mine. Ministers, hear. King, listen, Siddhartha. A Kshatriya can't give up what he has shot. Do you agree with me? So according to Kshatriya's rule, the king says that a Kshatriya cannot give up what he has shot. And do you agree with me, Siddhartha? "Yes, I do, sir. But a Kshatriya can't give up a supplement either. The swan came to me for protection. I can't give it up." Of course, king, what you said is right. A Kshatriya can't give up anything that he has shot. But according to me, a Kshatriya can't give up a supplement either also. And the swan came to me for protection. Therefore, I don't give the swan to Devadatta. Devadatta. "Your Highness, this is injustice. I shot the swan, so it's mine." Devadatta says that to the king, "Your Highness, I shot the swan, so therefore it is mine." King, "Well, boys, I am puzzled. It is a strange case. I don't know how to decide it. To the chief minister, can you help me?" King was in confusion as it was a new case for him. He was unable to solve the problem. He was unable to take the decision. So therefore, the king asked the minister to help him. Now the king is speaking. "Chief Minister, I'll try, Your Highness." When king asked the chief minister to help him, the chief minister said that definitely he would help the king to solve the problem. King, "Very well. Then please go ahead." Now the king has given permission to the chief minister to solve the problem. Chief Minister, "Prince Siddhartha and Devadatta, please listen to me." Prince Devadatta says that the swan is his because he had shot it, and Prince Siddhartha says that it is his because he saved its life. Am I right? Now the chief minister is asking both the princes, the Siddhartha as well as Devadatta, to listen to him carefully. So as far as Devadatta, the swan belongs to Devadatta because he has shot the swan. But according to Siddhartha, the swan belongs to Siddhartha because he has saved the life of that swan. Okay, so this is what told by Chief Minister. Now, Siddhartha and Devadatta, yes, you are right. So both Siddhartha and Devadatta agreed with the Chief Minister. Chief Minister, good. Now, Prince Siddhartha, please put the swan on the stool. Chief Minister asked Siddhartha to put the swan on the stool. So now, Siddhartha kept the swan on the stool. Siddhartha puts the swan on the stool and goes back to his place. The swan is frightened and keeps looking at Siddhartha. So the swan was afraid and it was looking at Siddhartha. Chief Minister is speaking to Devadatta. Prince Devadatta, please come forward and ask the swan to come to you. Now the Chief Minister has told Devadatta to come forward and to ask the swan to come to him. Devadatta came forward. Come to me, O swan, come, come, come. The swan stumbles and cries with fear. When Devadatta came forward and called the swan to come to him, the swan was afraid. It was feared. It was trembling. Chief Minister, that will do, Prince Devadatta. Now it's your turn to call the swan, Prince Siddhartha. Devadatta goes back and Siddhartha comes forward. Chief Minister asked Siddhartha to call the swan now. Siddhartha going near to the swan, dear swan, don't be afraid. I have come to you. Come and sit on my arms. The swan at once flies onto Siddhartha's arms. So now Siddhartha had his time to call the swan. So he went forward and called the swan to come to him. So as soon as he called, the swan went to Siddhartha and sat in his arms. Chief Minister to the king, Your Highness, the swan has decided the case. Chief Minister says to the king that the swan has decided the case. King, it has indeed, and we accept the decision. The swan belongs to the Prince Siddhartha. So the king gave decision that whatever decision that was given by the swan is the final decision, and we accept the decision of the swan. So therefore, now the decision is that the swan belongs to Siddhartha. All. Long live Prince Siddhartha, long live Prince Siddhartha. So all the courtiers in the court appreciated the decision of the bird, and they asked Siddhartha to live long. Okay, they said that Siddhartha should long live. So this is how the swan in the story decided the case. So it was fear. Okay, it had fear about Devadatta, but it was happy with Siddhartha. So this is all about the story, the swan and the princess. Okay children, thank you, thanks a lot.